And so I'm now going to show you how it all came about. Now, right from the very get-go, our intention, whatever our platform ultimately ended up looking like, was designed to get people's attention. Once we got people's attention, we wanted to have the opportunity to forge relationships with them. So this was our mission. Now, at this time, I wasn't, and my business partner and I were not so smart that we got it all figured out in advance. We learned the significance of these things as we went along. But what we determined to do was take it one step at a time and then keep reading and understand how what else is out there can be incorporated into our next level thinking that would then allow us to move to a scenario where we could essentially create what is as close to a perfect platform given the resources that we have had. How we were able to bring all that about. So we took it just with the first step. And the first step for me was when I started this business. I was really coming out of the back of 10 years of real pain and having learned a great deal in that time. And the one core message that sort of resonated with me was that there was a lot of people out there that don't really have your best interests at heart. And you should never be like them, right? So I had this intuitive decision that really we should just treat other people like we ourselves hope to be treated. And then when Charlie Munger confirmed this for me, I knew that this would be the basic foundation of our business. So we kick off with the golden rule, and then we tie into the mix that we have expertise on our team, and that expert is me. I've been doing Hong Kong immigration for 22, 23 years now. It's the only thing I really know, to be honest, and I think I've got a pretty decent understanding of how it all works. So because we had this expertise, we could really work to parlay and showcase that expertise, because we have to do it in a scalable fashion, and we knew that by publishing into the niche, by doing the Hong Kong Visa Handbook, we knew that would be successful for us, because we had originally published the first version of the Hong Kong Visa Handbook on the internet in 1996. And between 1996 and 2000, it kind of made me. So I knew it would work. What I didn't really understand when I was putting down the content layer was how the reading that I would go on to do would allow me to understand the technical ability to back into the client the service that they would really be in a position to receive. I had some ideas about how this might work, but when I looked into the internet for the technologies, I found them all there. And so once we had laid down the content layer, which was the Hong Kong Visa Handbook, which I rewrote again, and then started the Hong Kong Visa Geezer blog, which is our daily content update site, we then had sort of the foundation of a platform of content that was essentially getting to the point of covering almost every nook and cranny of the Hong Kong immigration experience. And that platform itself provides us with that piece of real estate on the internet for those people who have an interest in that material to find their way into us. And once we've found their way into us, we needed clearly at that point to understand, well, how can we develop a business out of this? What are we going to, how are we going to configure our proposition, understanding that what we're really selling is peace of mind? So what are the constituent parts to this? And so it was a question of doing the reading. And we determined that our content layer was going to oversit essentially a purple cow type business, which I'd learned from Seth Godin, that we were going to rely on the notion of generosity to allow people to have access to all the things that they need to help them solve an important problem or to help them answer a question. And that by being generous in this fashion, the natural law of reciprocity would work in our favour. And that meant that the proposition would then get parlayed further and wider afield, and we'd have increasing opportunities to catch more and more people who eventually would have an interest in this material. And once we knew that was a real sort of, dynamic of how things were going to unfold for us, we inculcated an idea virus, which is another safeguarding concept, and the Hong Kong Visa Giza.com website is the manifestation of our idea virus. We broke down in very discrete terms the understanding of when people are looking for an immigration solution, what their real problems are, and what are the jobs do they need to get done in order to solve the problem and move past where they are with their difficulties. Well, this is a concept we picked up from Clay Christensen. And then about 12 months into the business, I had a eureka moment when I was wandering down the shelves of the business section of a bookshop in Western Australia, and I saw this book on the side. It said "Irresistible Offer," and the moment I saw those words, I knew that's what's missing. And so I read this book, and this is where our double your money back guarantee came from, which I was always determined to kind of give in any event, because I've always maintained that if I'm being sort of held out or hired to be the expert in this particular niche to solve a particular problem, and I don't deliver for them, then I've kind of let them down in some way. So I can't guarantee anybody an immigration label in a passport. I'm not the government. But if we take somebody on and they don't get approved, then we give them double their money back, in a sense, to say sorry for that. But it is, in fact, part of our business model entrenched in this idea of having an irresistible offer. And so this is kind of what the platform looks like, embedded in our proposition. Essentially, the platform is an understanding of all the kinds of problems that people have that they can reasonably solve themselves if they just have access to the know-how and the tools to be able to do that. Similarly, the ability for people to reach out to us with their particular problems gave us an opportunity to leverage both the law of reciprocity through generosity, but also this idea that we would be getting opportunities to further the knowledge graph, because whilst we can conjure up any kind of imagined scenarios for circumstances, there's a finite number to those in my imagination. And by allowing people to ask me questions, I'm able to get questions that are real life and are based on circumstances and facts that I couldn't even begin to dream of. And then this, in turn, begins to widen the knowledge graph as you answer that question. And because when that question is asked in a natural language way, you answer it in a natural language way, the search engines will pick that up and make your content very easily discoverable. And similarly, going into all of our content on our platform, taking you based on scenarios that you find yourself in. So essentially what you've got here is all the maelstrom of our proposition, including disruptive pricing, which having the content layer enabled us, which again gave us another point of differentiation from our competitors. But altogether, this is the front side of our platform.